Here we are, walking and talking.
Hello, hello.
Towards the end of the day, it's just starting to get a little bit dark. I'm pleased to announce that following our talks on procrastination recently, that I managed my day really well today. I didn't procrastinate. I started just with a list of what is the absolutely most critical thing that I need to get done today, then the next most critical thing, and so on. And I just started at the top and worked my way down, and it felt good. I made really good progress. I'm feeling quite smug.
Good, you should.
What have you been doing today?
So I've been working with a exciting travel company today called Secret Escapes, who are certainly well known in Europe and the UK, and working with a bunch of project managers and people who are very tech minded. And we've been working, one of the subjects that I wanted to mention was the subject of motivation.
And I think that's a really interesting topic, because up until predominantly the work of Dan Pink, a lot of the research in that area was really quite out of date. For example, if you look at the work of Edwin Locke and his mate, Mr. Latham, when they originally did their research on goal setting, they were targeted, the theory was set people hard goals and they'll work harder. But if you look at what they were setting goals around, it was about how to chop wood quicker or type words quicker. And that just doesn't really translate into today's world, where we need people to be self-motivated, solving problems, creative. It's not just here's a job, get it done. We need people to think for themselves, and so motivating them using those older theories aren't necessarily always as applicable today. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right, and today I had a whole mix of specialties and specialisms in the room. So actually they do work that perhaps their boss doesn't even understand, particularly might have the headlines. So these people need to be able to motivate themselves and also to motivate others in projects around them. And you're right, the days of chopping wood and so on for most of us have gone. So except when we went on our last Walkie-Talkie, we passed two people couple
in our village, and they were working together doing their wood chopping. But the funny thing was, he was sort of whittling away at the Kindle, and she had this massive axe and was whacking away at the big stuff.
Yes. So. Maybe that's tantamount to their relationship. Anyway, so let's talk about motivation, how to motivate others, but also how about thinking about motivating ourselves. So let's just get in. So Dan Pink, he wrote a book called Drive.
The surprising truth about what motivates us.
And many people have read that book. So it's like, let's just take some of the stuff and talk about it. So he talks about the three-legged stool of motivation being autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Yep. And one of the things we talked about today was autonomy. So give me your thoughts around autonomy. Do you like autonomy yourself? Does it motivate you?
It does. Where I think a lot of people miss the power of getting the levels of autonomy right is that it's more complex than just, are you giving somebody autonomy or not? So on the one level, giving people too much autonomy and they can feel unsupported, lost at sea, not enough, and they feel micromanaged. But within that, there are different, I like to think of it as levers. So for example, you can give people autonomy of time, or when autonomy. So that's saying, well, okay, I need this task doing. Decide how you do it, but you can decide when you do it or how you fit it into your workload. Then you've got autonomy.
There's 4 T's, isn't there? There's time, technique, tools, and there's a 4th one as well.
I don't look at that. I do the where, when, who, and what.
But these are pretty much the same
thing. Is that
thing.
a heron?
That is a huge heron. Just come past. You'd think we lived in this battlefield of birds.
I thought it was a massive pigeon.
We hardly see any birds, and then on 2 walks we've been seeing big birds of prey, and now a huge heron.
So when autonomy, which is giving people the choice about how they fit the time in or when they deliver it deadlines wise, how, so this is what I need and this is when I need it, but you decide how you do it. Who, so who do you connect with and go to for support? Is it something else that people can choose? And then what? So okay, team, here's a whole lot of tasks that we need to complete. You tell us what you want to work on. And it's knowing your people, because for example, you know what I'm like, if you give me a lot of time autonomy, it's not going to get done. If you say, Catherine, you decide when you deliver that, It's just, without a deadline, it's not going to get delivered. But please, 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 give me complete how autonomy. Don't tell me the nuances. It's like, I need that freedom. But that's just me. And everyone's got their different levels, or levers that motivate them in different ways.
So we're also completely agree. So you've got to clarify, if you're the one setting the goals, you've got to clarify the goals first, and then allow people to use their own autonomy, resources, time, techniques, whatever they are, to achieve that goal. And one of the things that came up in conversation today was pressure and change, and what managers tend to do in times of pressure and change, not all managers, but some managers, is retrieve power of process, time, techniques, whatever, and rip autonomy away from others, when just at that moment in time they should be giving more autonomy to people, trusting them more than ever. So it's a really important thing to think about, particularly when the pressure's on or you're going through significant change.
I was speaking to somebody recently in an agile project management environment, and she had this dawning realisation that we're told that we've got autonomy, but they're not actually given any.
Right.
And how damaging that is.
Yeah, that's demotivating, isn't it? Not just not motivating, it's going the other way.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like your boss doing the guided discovery. Let's talk about this subject. I haven't got a clear answer on it yet, and everything leads to the answer they have clearly got an answer on.
So I've got the answer in my head. Can you guess what it is yet?
Yeah.
I hate that.
And 99 out of 100 people hate that, in my belief. So autonomy, really interesting subject area. So we then went on to talk about things like purpose.
Oh, we could have several.
Yeah, we could.
Walkie-talkies on purpose. That's just
absolutely
so
clear.
important.
Absolutely clear about the why. If you're talking about people like Simon Sinek, why we're doing things and what drives us to get there. So what do you want to end up at the end? What's the thing? And actually, how do you immerse yourself in that? How do you work around the senses to really discover that outcome, and then bring it back to today, and then to describe it to people in a way that excites people, connects with people, getting past the rationale but to the emotional state. I think that's really important as well.
What I often think about is that statistic on how long does the average person spend at work in their lives, if you add up just physically being at work, so take out weekends, evenings, holidays, breaks, all that sort of stuff. It's 11 years, and a lot of people think that doesn't sound very long, but actually as a whole 11 years, you spend 19 to 23 years asleep. So it's a massive chunk of your life. Imagine getting to the end of it and thinking, what was the point of that then?
I think an awful lot of people spend an awful lot of their time asleep.
Well, they also
if
spend...
you know what I mean.
Yes, that 11 years. But also they spend... as part of the same research, the average person spends the same amount of time, 11 years, watching telly. How depressing is that? Imagine lying on your deathbed, looking back over your life going...
Yeah, I've got all my box sets in there.
Yeah, I watched Friends 10 times. So there's that. But yeah, you want to feel like there was a purpose behind it. There was a reason. You made a difference. Well, I do anyway.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine most people do. Right, we're just going to pause because we're coming up to someone with a dog whistle. One sec. Right, we're back. That was a nice little interlude. One of our neighbours has got two... Hang on. He's back one sec.
Border Cod.
Sorry, back again. Two, what are they? Border Collie...
Cross German Shepherd.
And they've got...
Curly whirly tails.
And a lot of energy. God, they can shift. But he's training them with a whistle and they're loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Anyway, back to...
So where were we? Purpose.
Purpose. It's really important to define, if you are the leader of a project or the leader of a team, what you're actually there to be and do and actually achieve, and be really clear in articulating that to others, and then helping them to immerse themselves in the team, etc., etc. So there's the dogs going by again. So that's but it can take some time to actually work out what your purpose is. If you work in a bank and you're, a settlements team, or you're a tech team in a company like Secret Escapes, what is actually, you've got to function, But what's the purpose? What's the actual
It
purpose?
can come at different levels as well. So there's that personal reason as to why do I leap out of bed in the morning and come to work. But then there's a bigger picture of what are we doing as a team or as a department or as an organisation that makes a difference, that contributes to something. So it can be on multiple levels.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is that spending the time, closing your eyes and taking yourself out there to what it is you actually want to achieve. And so why do you exist?
So anyone that has done any of our virtual Train the Trainer will have heard me say on multiple occasions, purpose, 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 because it's one of our core principles of the virtual training team in how we design and deliver virtual training, but also how we operate as a business as well. It's our number one principle in that, if it doesn't contribute to what you're trying to achieve for your clients, for your participants, then don't do it. Let's edit, let's focus.
Absolutely. And you were coaching to run virtual sessions, a group of tax type people, without mentioning names, and one of the things they had as a sort of revelation was if it doesn't connect with the purpose, we just don't do it.
Yeah.
If it's superfluous to that, then it doesn't get done.
And that should be the case for any training, but it just seems more important for virtual because it generally is bite-sized.
Yep.
And you're fighting for people's attention. So if everything's completely relevant, you've got their attention.
More likely.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying this talk about motivation. There's loads more that we need to talk about, but we've come to the end of our stint on the field. So should we take up as a part 2 next time? Because there's still lots to talk about, isn't there?
All right, we'll do
Are you-
2 parts.
Are you feeling motivated?
I'm always feeling motivated. It's not something that comes difficult to me, but then I'm a big picture person and sort of quite a driven person, quite a competitive person, which helps me to get motivated, but that doesn't always work for the people around me.
Well, for me, it's love what you do what you love, and you'll never work another day in your life. There we have it. So until next time.
Bye for now.
Bye.